Most people want to be smart, but very few want to be dangerous. Intelligence alone does not change outcomes. It explains them. Dangerous intelligence shapes outcomes. Machiavelli understood something that still makes people uncomfortable. The world does not reward truth. It rewards perception, and perception is controlled by those who understand human nature better than they understand morality. This video is not about being evil, it is about not being naive. Because naive intelligence is the most expensive weakness a man can have. You can be intelligent and still be controlled. You can be informed and still be predictable. You can be educated and still be exploited. Machiavelli did not teach men to become monsters. He taught them to stop assuming the world is fair. The moment you assume fairness, you surrender awareness, and awareness is the foundation of power. These lessons are ruthless, not because they promote cruelty, but because they remove illusions. Illusions are comforting, but they make you vulnerable. A dangerously smart man is not the loudest, not the most aggressive, and not the most honest. He is the one who understands when silence is leverage, when truth is a liability, and when morality is a mask. This video is not for everyone. If you need to believe that intentions matter more than outcomes, you will not like this. If you believe honesty is always rewarded, you will resist this. But if you want to see the world as it actually operates, these lessons will change how you move forever. The first ruthless lesson is this: never reveal your full competence. Most people believe that showing how capable they are earns respect. This belief destroys leverage. The moment people understand how competent you truly are, they recalibrate around you. They stop testing and start managing. Management is subtle control. When people know your limits, they push exactly to the edge. When people know your full capacity, they design systems that neutralize you. Machiavelli understood that visible strength creates early resistance. Invisible strength creates delayed dominance. A dangerously smart man never displays his full ability up front. He allows others to underestimate him. Underestimation creates space. Space allows maneuvering. When people think you are slightly less capable than you truly are, they become careless. Carelessness exposes weakness. This is not deception, it is positioning. The world does not reward transparency, it exploits it. When you reveal everything you can do, you remove mystery. Mystery creates caution, caution limits others. The most dangerous position is being underestimated while remaining observant. This is why the most effective operators often appear calm, even ordinary. They are not advertising power, they are collecting information. Information is leverage. Once people believe they understand you, they stop watching closely. This is when control shifts. Most men want to be recognized immediately. They want validation, confirmation, respect. This hunger exposes them. Validation seeking is visible, and visibility attracts opposition. Machiavelli advised rulers to appear less capable than they truly were. Not weak, just unremarkable. Because remarkable people are monitored. Unremarkable people move freely. Dangerous intelligence knows when to stay quiet. It knows when to let others speak. Reveal intentions. Expose insecurities. A man who speaks too much about his abilities loses strategic depth. Depth comes from restraint. When people cannot fully read you, they hesitate. Hesitation creates advantage. This lesson alone changes how you operate. You stop proving, you stop correcting, you stop demonstrating. You let outcomes speak when it is too late for others to respond. This is ruthless because it goes against ego. Ego wants recognition. Power wants position. Dangerous intelligence chooses position. Most people sabotage themselves by revealing how smart they are. They correct others publicly. They dominate conversations. They showcase insight. All of this feels powerful, but it invites resistance. Resistance drains energy. A dangerously smart man does not seek admiration. He seeks leverage. Leverage does not announce itself. It accumulates quietly. This is the first lesson most men never learn. And once you see it, you start noticing how often intelligence is punished, not rewarded. Because the world does not reward intelligence. It rewards those who understand when to reveal it. The second ruthless lesson is that information is never neutral. Most people believe information is something you share to build trust. This belief makes them predictable. Information is leverage, not currency. The moment you reveal information, you lose control over how it will be used. Machiavelli understood that knowledge in the wrong hands becomes a weapon against you. A dangerously smart man treats information as something that must earn its release. He does not speak to be understood. He speaks to position. Most men overshare without realizing it. They explain motives, justify decisions, and reveal plans. They believe clarity builds alignment. In reality, clarity builds exposure. Exposure creates vulnerability. When people know your reasoning, they know how to manipulate outcomes. They do not attack your decision. They attack your logic, and once logic is exposed, it can be undermined. This is why powerful people rarely explain themselves fully. Explanation lowers authority. Authority is not proven, it is assumed. The moment you assume you must explain, you accept a lower position. A dangerously smart man lets others fill in the blanks. People trust their own conclusions more than your explanations. When you explain less, others project more. Projection increases perceived depth. Perceived depth creates authority. Machiavelli warned that openness is often confused with virtue. Virtue without discretion is weakness. Discretion is not secrecy, it is selectivity. A selective man decides what is known by whom and when. This creates informational asymmetry. Asymmetry is power. When others know more about you than you know about them, you are exposed. When you know more about others than they know about you, you are positioned. Dangerous intelligence collects far more than it releases. Listening is not politeness. Listening is extraction. Every time someone speaks, they reveal priorities, fears, and blind spots. Most people talk to feel heard. A dangerously smart man listens to map terrain. He does not interrupt. He does not rush to respond. He lets people reveal themselves, because people always do. The second lesson is ruthless, because it requires discipline. Discipline over ego. Ego wants to speak to be seen as intelligent. Power wants others to speak so they can be understood. Understanding others is far more valuable than being understood. The third ruthless lesson is that morality is a tool, not a shield. This is where most people become uncomfortable. They want to believe morality protects them. Machiavelli knew morality is often used to control the naive. The world does not punish immoral behavior. It punishes exposed behavior. A dangerously smart man understands this distinction. He does not abandon morality, he understands its function. Morality is language. Language shapes perception. Those who control moral narratives control judgment. Most people assume moral behavior guarantees safety. In reality, moral predictability guarantees exploitation. When others know what you will not do, they use it against you. They push just enough, knowing you will stop yourself. This is not evil, this is reality. Machiavelli observed that rulers who appeared morally rigid were easy to manipulate because their limits were visible. A dangerously smart man keeps his moral boundaries ambiguous. Not absent. Ambiguous ambiguity creates hesitation. Hesitation creates leverage. People are cautious when they cannot predict how far you are willing to go. Caution limits aggression. This does not mean acting immorally. It means never advertising your moral ceiling. Most men proudly declare what they would never do. This feels virtuous, but it removes strategic depth. When people know you will always play fair, they play unfair against you and they sleep well at night. Machiavelli warned that appearing too good invites betrayal, not because people hate goodness, but because they do not fear it. Fear creates boundaries. A dangerously smart man is respected because his limits are unknown. Unknown limits create caution. Caution preserves power. This lesson is ruthless because it contradicts social conditioning. From childhood, men are taught that moral clarity equals strength. In reality, moral rigidity equals exposure. The world respects restraint, not declarations. Those who shout their virtue invite challenge. Those who remain unreadable are avoided. Avoidance is power. This is why the most dangerous people often appear calm, reasonable, and ethically flexible, not corrupt. Flexible, they adapt morality to context. Context determines survival. Machiavelli never argued for cruelty. He argued against blindness. Blind morality is a liability. Awareness is protection. The third lesson teaches that you must separate personal values from strategic behavior. You may hold values internally, but you do not weaponize them against yourself. A dangerously smart man does not betray his principles. He simply refuses to let others exploit them. Once you understand this, you begin to see how often moral language is used to trap. People appeal to fairness to disarm you. They appeal to kindness to extract concessions. They appeal to honesty to gain access. Dangerous intelligence recognizes these moves and does not react emotionally. Emotion clouds judgment. Judgment preserves position. These lessons are uncomfortable because they remove illusions. Illusions feel safe. Reality is sharper. But sharp awareness is what keeps you free. The fourth ruthless lesson is that predictability is a weakness, no matter how virtuous it looks. Most people believe consistency is always a strength. They believe being reliable, transparent, and emotionally steady makes them trustworthy. This belief is only half true. Consistency builds comfort, but comfort attracts exploitation. Machiavelli understood that predictability allows others to plan around you. Once your reactions are known, your behavior becomes manageable. Manageable people are controlled people. A dangerously smart man is consistent in values but variable in expression. His core remains stable, but his responses do not become mechanical. This creates uncertainty. Uncertainty forces attention. When people cannot predict how you will respond, they hesitate. Hesitation slows aggression. Predictability invites testing. People push boundaries to see how far they can go. When your response is always the same, they push further because they know the cost. A man who is always calm, always forgiving, always understanding becomes a resource. Resources are used. This does not mean becoming volatile. Volatility destroys trust. The lesson is about controlled variability. You do not react the same way to every situation. You do not reward every behavior with the same emotional output. You allow people to wonder what version of you they will encounter. This uncertainty is not fear-based. It is respect-based. Respect grows when outcomes are not guaranteed. Machiavelli warned that rulers who were too predictable were removed first because they were easy to plan against. Dangerous intelligence never allows itself to become an algorithm. Algorithms are optimized against. Human unpredictability is not chaos. It is strategic ambiguity. Ambiguity keeps others cautious. Caution preserves power. The fourth lesson is ruthless because it challenges the idea that being consistent is always noble. In reality, being consistently available, consistently forgiving, consistently understanding makes you safe to exploit. A dangerously smart man changes responses without changing principles. He does not explain the shift. Explanation restores predictability. Silence maintains uncertainty. Uncertainty maintains leverage. Once people realize they cannot easily read you, they adjust. Adjustment is submission. The fifth ruthless lesson is that trust is always conditional, even when it feels personal. Most people treat trust as a moral contract. Once given, it is expected to remain. This belief creates blind spots. Machiavelli understood that trust is situational. It exists only while interests align. The moment incentives shift, trust evaporates. This does not make people evil. It makes them human. A dangerously smart man does not confuse loyalty with alignment. Loyalty is emotional, alignment is strategic. Emotions fluctuate, strategy responds to incentives. When you assume trust is permanent, you stop observing, and the moment you stop observing, you are vulnerable. Trust does not mean blindness. Trust without verification is surrender. This lesson is ruthless because it removes emotional comfort. It forces you to accept that relationships are dynamic. People change, priorities shift, pressure alters behavior. Dangerous intelligence never assumes permanence, it monitors continuously. This does not mean paranoia, it means awareness. You do not accuse, you do not confront, you observe. Observation reveals shifts before betrayal occurs. Most betrayals are not sudden. They are gradual. Signals appear early. Changes in tone, changes in responsiveness, changes in alignment. Naive men ignore these. Dangerously smart men note them. They adjust quietly. Adjustment is survival. Machiavelli wrote that rulers who trusted blindly were destroyed by those they empowered. Power creates temptation. Temptation reveals character. A dangerously smart man does not test loyalty by offering unlimited trust. He tests it by observing behavior under pressure. Pressure exposes priorities. Priorities determine reliability. Trust is earned continuously, not granted permanently. This lesson is uncomfortable because it contradicts emotional narratives. People want to believe trust is sacred. In reality, trust is functional. It functions while conditions allow. Understanding this does not make you cold, it makes you prepared. Prepared men are rarely surprised. Surprise is where downfall begins. A dangerously smart man builds systems, not dependencies. Dependencies collapse when incentives change. Systems adapt. This lesson changes how you relate to others. You remain respectful but observant. You remain open but not blind. You remain cooperative but not exposed. This balance is what keeps power intact. Most men lose position because they trust emotionally. They assume shared history guarantees future loyalty. History does not bind behavior, incentives do. Once incentives shift, behavior follows. Dangerous intelligence accepts this reality and prepares accordingly. The fourth and fifth lessons work together. Unpredictability prevents exploitation. Conditional trust prevents betrayal. Together they create resilience. Resilient men are difficult to remove, not because they are aggressive, but because they are adaptive. Adaptation is the highest form of intelligence. The sixth ruthless lesson is that emotional reactions expose hierarchy. Most people believe emotions are personal, something private, something human. Machiavelli understood that emotion is signal, not what you feel but how you display it. Communicates position. The man who reacts emotionally reveals that something external has power over him. Power over emotion equals power over behavior. A dangerously smart man does not eliminate emotion. He regulates exposure. He understands that visible reaction is an invitation to push, to test, to escalate. Those who can provoke emotion can steer outcomes. This is why insults work. This is why bait works. This is why pressure works. They are not attacks. They are probes. Probes test hierarchy. Most men fail here. They react instinctively to disrespect, to challenge, to perceived injustice. In doing so, they reveal vulnerability. Vulnerability invites repetition. A dangerously smart man does not reward provocation with reaction. He understands that not every insult requires response. Silence is not weakness. Silence is refusal to enter a lower frame. This lesson is ruthless because it demands ego control. Ego wants retaliation. Power wants position. The man who reacts gives control to the instigator. The man who remains composed forces the instigator to reveal intention. Revealed intention is advantage. This does not mean passivity. It means timing. You choose when to respond, how to respond, and whether response is necessary. Delayed reaction is often stronger than immediate response. Immediate reaction feels emotional. Delayed response feels calculated. Calculation intimidates. Intimidation sets boundaries. Machiavelli observed that rulers who reacted emotionally were easily manipulated. Those who remained unreadable were feared. Fear does not require cruelty, it requires unpredictability. A dangerously smart man does not become numb. He becomes selective. He understands that emotional energy is finite. Wasting it is weakness. This lesson alone elevates a man above most social traps. The seventh ruthless lesson is that power is always temporary and must be renewed. Most people believe power is something you achieve. Once achieved, they relax. Relaxation invites removal. Machiavelli understood that power decays the moment vigilance fades. There is no permanent position, only maintained position. A dangerously smart man never assumes security. He assumes change. Change is constant. Those who forget this are replaced. This lesson is ruthless because it removes the illusion of arrival. There is no arrival, only adaptation. Men who believe they have earned permanent respect stop observing. They rely on past success. Past success does not protect future position. The world does not honor history. It responds to current leverage. Machiavelli warned that rulers who lived on reputation alone were the first to fall. Reputation decays. Influence must be refreshed. A dangerously smart man continuously updates his position. He watches shifts in alliances and incentives in perception. He adjusts quietly. He does not announce change. Announcement invites resistance. Adaptation preserves dominance. This lesson demands humility, not moral humility, strategic humility. You are never above replacement. You are never immune to change. You are never fully safe. Accepting this keeps you sharp. Sharpness preserves power. Most men lose status, not through attack, but through complacency. They stop listening, stop adjusting, stop questioning, and then they are surprised when influence disappears. Dangerously smart men are rarely surprised. They expect shifts. Expectation removes shock. Shock destroys judgment. Judgment preserves position. These final lessons complete the picture. Do not reveal your full competence. Control information. Treat morality as context. Remain unpredictable. Trust conditionally. Regulate emotional exposure. Never assume permanence. Together, these principles do not make you cruel. They make you aware. Awareness is the difference between being intelligent and being dangerous. Dangerous intelligence is not about harm. It is about resistance to control. It is about seeing traps before you enter them. It is about understanding that most losses are not accidents. They are consequences of blindness. Machiavelli was feared not because he promoted evil, but because he described reality without comfort. Comfort weakens, reality sharpens. This knowledge will not make you popular, it will make you effective. The world does not reward those who understand it. It rewards those who move correctly within it. Dangerously smart men do not seek admiration, they seek autonomy. Autonomy is the highest form of power. When you cannot be easily influenced, pressured, or provoked, you are free. Freedom intimidates, intimidation protects. These lessons are ruthless because they strip illusions. Illusions feel safe, but safety without awareness is temporary. Awareness without illusion is durable. This is why most people will reject these ideas. They prefer comfort over clarity. Clarity demands responsibility. Responsibility is heavy, but it is the price of remaining unexploited. Once you internalize these lessons, you stop asking why things happen to you. You start seeing how they are shaped. This is the transition from intelligence to dangerous intelligence. Not violent, not immoral, uncontrolled. And in a world built on influence, control, and perception, being uncontrollable is the ultimate advantage. This is what Machiavelli understood. And this is why his lessons still disturb people today, because they work.